Hello and welcome to I-24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. A week full of international football action begins tonight with some exciting friendlies. African teams continue to play for qualification to the African Cup, even if its fate is unknown yet, and cricket can apparently go crazy sometimes. All that and much more coming up. Let's get started. We begin with football and with the friendlies that will be played tonight with 3 of the 4 World Cup semi-finalists in action. One of them is Argentina, who will take on Croatia in London. The biggest news in the Argentine squad is the return of Carlos Tevez. The Juventus striker was controversially left out of the World Cup squad by former manager Alejandro Sabella. Now that Tata Martino is in charge, he recalled Tevez, and he was very happy to see his reaction after wearing the albiceleste jersey once again.
Que la forma de comportarse del grupo sigue siendo.
I wasn't expecting anything different, but the reaction was great. I have my own philosophy, and I followed what happened leading up to the World Cup and afterwards, but I have my own approach. We are all professionals, and this is a great chance not only for Carlos, but for many new players to make the most of this opportunity, and for me as a coach to be with them.
Que se van insertando, ¿no? Y son.
Now to Brazil, who seems to be recuperating quite well from that humiliating 7-1 loss to Germany in the World Cup. The Seleção won all of their 4 matches since that day. The last one was a 4-0 win over Japan, with Neymar scoring all 4 goals. New manager Dunga, who is in his 2nd term as Brazil's head coach, would love to make it 5 out of 5 tonight in Istanbul when Brazil faces Turkey, as they prepare for their next big tournament, the Copa America, that will be held next year in Chile. The Netherlands were also one of the 4 semi-finalists in Brazil, but along the way they had to put Mexico behind, and they only did it with a stoppage time penalty after being down through most of the match. Now the 2 teams meet again, this time in Amsterdam. This is a big game for the Dutch, who have been very disappointing so far in the Euro 2016 qualifiers, where they lost 2 of their opening 3 matches, and this is the place for them to regain the faith of their fans ahead of their crucial qualifier against Latvia on Sunday. The visitors, on the other hand, have almost a year to prepare for the Copa America. Manager Miguel Herrera says the events of the World Cup are now forgotten.
Claro, a eso venimos con esa idea. Sabemos que es un equipo fuerte.
The penalty incident at the World Cup is something that we've left behind us, and we're focusing on the future now and how to improve our play. However, this coming match is very important for us, and we came here to win. This is not a case of revenge. We're here to win for the fans against a great football team, the Netherlands.
The 4th World Cup semi-finalists, world champions Germany, will not be in action tonight, but they still gathered for a very emotional moment. The German team met on the red carpet ahead of the film premiere of Die Mannschaft, which tells the story of Germany's World Cup winning side. The squad, along with manager Joachim Löw and his coaching staff, gathered in Berlin to watch the film, which reveals some of the more intimate details of their success. And it was not just about good football this summer in Brazil, there was something beyond that.
A good relationship, 23 players, and also the staff was very important for us because we worked together, and we had great guys, great footballers, and also after not so good games, we stayed together, and this is the most important.
Now to Africa, and the big question is if and where the African Cup of Nations will be held. The African Football Federation announced yesterday that the tournament will not be held in Morocco. They also said they have a couple of offers from other countries to host the event. That is set to begin in just 2 months, but no decision has been taken yet. Former host Morocco, who refused to host the tournament due to the fear of the spread of the Ebola virus, has been disqualified. And as the fate of the tournament is not yet known, qualifying matches still continue. 14 matches will be played throughout Africa this weekend. One of them will be held in Botswana, where the local team is set to host Tunisia. Botswana is the weakest team in the group, which is also made up of Egypt and Senegal, and a win would guarantee Tunisia's spot in the African Cup of Nations. Despite that, their manager is expecting a tough challenge.
This is a very important match. It's more important than our match against Senegal. It won't be easy, and all the players are expected to concentrate because this is like the final match for us.
Back to Europe, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic was injured for the past 6 weeks, a time in which his team, Paris Saint-Germain, sometimes struggled on the pitch in the French league. He was back this past weekend for his 100th match with a Parisian club, and it came on the biggest stage there is in French football, the Classique between PSG and Marseille. This was not the only big moment for the Swedish superstar this week. On Monday, he was voted as Sweden's Player of the Year for the 9th time. Michael Friedman takes another look at one of the biggest icons of world football.
He is considered one of the most impressive strikers in the world. Zlatan has conquered 4 different countries, winning the league titles. In the Netherlands with Ajax, Italy with Inter Milan and AC Milan, in Spain with Barcelona, and France with Paris Saint-Germain. He continues to show how he is the top of his class. He holds the record of number of goals for the Swedish national team, which is 50, that made him an icon in his country. There is even a stamp in his honor. With his imposing physique as well as martial arts, Zlatan is a complete athlete. He is a black belt in Taekwondo, and his flexibility allows him to score outstanding goals.
Only one Zlatan.
Yeah, can Zlatan.
But his fame exceeds sport. In popular culture, the word Zlataner has been integrated into society and represents arrogance, which has often led to altercations on the pitch, which has even been the bread and butter for the press. Despite all these trophies and well-marked personality, Zlatan Ibrahimovic still has great dreams. The tremendous striker has won many championships, but is still missing his biggest aspiration, the Champions League. During the game against his former club Ajax at the Parc des Princes, Zlatan Ibrahimovic once again was honored after his heel injury. The star has again helped PSG in their hopes to continue their almost perfect record. PSG and Zlatan appear to be the perfect match, and this might be the year for him to lift the most prestigious European award.
I'd like to be a part of this history, and I'm pretty sure we'll make history with this club, and I came here to win.
Zlatan is a happy man and knows he has a little more to give in the great history book of football.
Now to tennis, and the ATP World Tour Finals continue in London. Roger Federer is still in the hunt for the #1 spot at the end of the year. The Swiss Master is looking sharp so far as he recorded his second win in Group B. 2 days after easily beating Milos Raonic, Federer faced Japan's Kei Nishikori, who did not put up a serious challenge. Federer wins 6-3 and 6-2 and is very close to secure his spot in the semi-finals in the chase of his 7th Tour Finals title. Nishikori is still in the race thanks to his win on Sunday over Andy Murray. This meant the Scot had to win his match against Raonic to avoid early elimination, and he did just that. The hard-hitting Canadian put up a fight, especially in the second set, but it was not enough. Murray wins 6-3 and 7-5. Federer will be the next rival in his final group match, and anything but a win may cost Murray the place in the semis. The Davis Cup final is in just a week and a half, and the Swiss team is not training yet, as both singles players, Roger Federer and Stanislas Wawrinka, are currently competing in London. It's a different story for the French team. None of their players made it to the top 8 at the end of the year, which means more time to train ahead of their clash with Switzerland, set to take place in Lille. If rankings are the decisive factor, then it's safe to say that the Swiss are favorites, but when it comes to the Davis Cup, especially in the final, other factors may prove to be decisive. Joe Wilfried Tsonga knows that in these aspects, the French are a big force.
On est tous des leaders potentiels dans...
We're all potential leaders. We all have different character. I think today is a really homogeneous group, and that is what makes the strength of this group.
Aujourd'hui, le groupe...
Basketball now, and the NBA gave us just another example of how important is the use of cameras to make the right decisions. The Charlotte Hornets traveled to Portland to face the Blazers. Nothing in the first half could give us any indication of what would happen at the end. It seemed to be one of those very one-sided games, with the visiting Hornets up by 23 in the second quarter. Al Jefferson doing the damage inside. The Blazers started their rally just before the break as they cut their deficit to 13 at halftime, and they kept on pushing until Steve Blake gave them the first lead of the game with just over 3 minutes to go. We go straight to the end. Blazers up by 2. Gary Neal drives to the hoop, and it's good, but did he beat the buzzer? Are we heading to overtime? The answer is no. The replay shows that time is up and the ball is still in his hands. Portland wins 102-100. It was not a long time ago when European sports fans would look to the other side of the Atlantic and not really understand much about popular sports in America. those days are now over as American sports go global in the search of bigger audience, and it's working. Wembley Stadium was almost sold out this past Sunday for the football match, American football that is, between the Cowboys and the Jaguars, the third NFL match played in the British capital this season. And it's not only American football. The last MLB season took off in Sydney, Australia, and now that it has ended, players are on the way to exhibition matches in Japan. Here's Michael Friedman with the story of American sports gaining more and more popularity overseas.
There once was a time where American sports was just in the United States, but we can now see passionate supporters all around the world enjoying the same games as the red, white, and blue. American football has showed a huge following in Europe, and many wonder whether or not London will be the first European city to have an NFL team. About 84,000 Brits and otherwise packed Wembley Stadium this past Sunday, and it was not for a Premier League match. Sure, a football game was played, but not the same type of football the English are accustomed to. This past weekend featured the third regular season NFL game with one of the biggest American sports teams, the Dallas Cowboys, who brought all types of supporters. And with a different style of play, the stadium sure took a pounding.
Everybody out there was wearing the big 7-stud spikes, and trying to get a grip. I'm not sure that field is used to having 300-pounders run around on it a whole bunch. Soccer guys are a little bit lighter than us.
The game created a huge buzz with some of the biggest names in European football, such as Manchester City's Sergio Aguero, who came wearing a Dallas Cowboys uniform. And then there was Jose Mourinho on the sideline with NFL legend Emmitt Smith. Other European footballers also soaked in the atmosphere of the sport. Tottenham Hotspur's midfielder Christian Eriksen was also seen holding the spiral football. The idea of American football being played in future international leagues or competitions excites many American athletes too.
Hopefully, if we expand our NFL brand enough that we can have an Olympic or a World Cup of football, American football that is, and we can get that accomplished.
The NFL is not the only American sport to be admired abroad. The Major League Baseball All-Stars are now preparing for a 5-game series in Japan this month. While the World Series is over, the top baseball players will be showcasing their skills in a 5-game series against the Japanese national team.
For me, it was kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity type thing. I don't know that I'll ever have the opportunity again to go over to Japan and play baseball and represent Major League Baseball.
And it's no surprise American basketball has continued to grow around the world. The NBA continues to play games overseas, and the players are always enjoying showcasing their talents abroad. The preseason featured international games even in China.
It feels great. Basketball is so big around here. I think a lot of people underestimate how big it really is. For us coming here, for the fans that follow the game well, just being out in public and having your name called is big for us.
As each of these sports continue to become more global, who knows if one day we'll see American sports featured teams in Europe or around the world. Some of the biggest cities could have teams like the London Jaguars, the Paris Panthers, or even the Barcelona Broncos. So which international city will be the first to claim their team?
The Rio Olympics are less than 2 years away. Critics have pointed to the slow progress of work on the different venues, and the mayor's office started a campaign to show that work is on schedule. The campaign released aerial footage of the Olympic Park under construction. It shows a time-lapse of work on the International Broadcasting Center, the multi-hall training arena, and the Aquatic Center. A delegation by the IOC visited Rio last month and raised concerns over the pace of construction. Now we'll have to see if this latest video maybe calms them down. We all have a dream. Go watch your favorite team and become the hero in the stands. For some, the dream has come true. Andrew McCulloch went to watch his cricket team, the Otago Volts in New Zealand, and this is what happens. He single-handedly caught the ball, launched over the fence. The barefoot fan ran towards the ball and plucked it out of the air, catching it with one hand. The catch is worth 5,000 New Zealand dollars for the prolific catcher, nearly 4,000 American dollars, and even more important, the love of the crowd. Take a look at it from another angle. That's how the pros do it. Maybe the Kiwis should add him to their World Cup team. Apparently, it's the place where crazy things happen. New Zealand, along with Australia, will host the tournament as of February 14th, and this is how the Aussies kicked off their leg in the Trophy Tour, a spectacular skydive over Jurien Bay in Western Australia. Now the trophy will continue its tour on land this time for the next 3 months, and if the spectacular catch and this fabulous skydive are just a preview, then there is definitely a lot to watch for once the World Cup begins. I envy the trophy. That's it for us today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget you can watch us anytime on our website at i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.